Okay, just giving you guys a quick run through on how to use WestLaw here. Some of you may already be familiar with it, some of you may have never heard of it. WestLaw is the online database most used by attorneys to get to cases, statutes, regulations, and legal information that they need to do their jobs. Attorneys, judges, court personnel, paralegals, all sorts of people get into this stuff. It's a pretty cool way to do things. I'll take you through it very quickly, and we'll be using it throughout the semester, so we'll pick up some tricks and tips along the way, I'm sure. But for now, I just really want to get you in and start you getting working with it. You learn mostly about it through just doing it. Things I tell you on this video are not going to stick as well as getting into it and using it. So you go to the UMass Library site, which is www.library.umass.edu. You go to the search bar. All you do is type in West, and you want to search that in databases, and just hit the search icon. It comes up pretty quickly. You have WestLaw Next and WestLaw Campus. WestLaw Next is newer. I prefer the older WestLaw Campus. They're basically the same, but I'm going to use WestLaw Campus for this. I've been told again and again that it's going away. West isn't going to support it, but that's been going on for years. It's still there. So it'll probably last as long as we need it to, which is just a few weeks. Down the road, you may find that only WestLaw Next is an option, but if you know how to use WestLaw Campus Research, WestLaw Next will not be a problem for you. Now, if you're doing this from home and not on UMass grounds, you're going to get a window that'll come up that'll ask you to enter your ID information. That's the, whatever your student ID stuff is that gets you into Blackboard and so on will get you into WestLaw Campus Research. In the real world, WestLaw is kind of spendy, but at UMass we get this stripped down version. It's in your tuition dollars, so you don't have to worry about how long you stay on it or anything. You won't have any additional billing for using WestLaw. Of course, I don't think that it ever happens. It's set up so that it's blocked, so it will never give you a window that will say if you want to use this option it will cost you money. Obviously, if that happens, don't do it. I don't think there's any way it can happen on a student subscription, though. It happens to real world attorneys all the time. I'll just look at this volume and then it leads to another thing, and then it's a $300,000, $500,000 bill that comes through the door for it. Fortunately, we don't have to deal with that. Once you get into WestLaw Campus Research, pay attention. There's a little tab on the upper left-hand side that says Law. You actually go into the News and Business section. You want the Law section. Once you're in there, it looks very confusing. For our purposes, mainly, we're just going to find things by their citations. So you go to the syllabus and you find a citation for an opinion. The first one we have is Knox v. MSPCA, and the citation comes after the title of the opinion, and that is 425 Northeast 2nd 393. You want to use that to find the actual body and text of the opinion in WestLaw. So you paste that in where it says find, upper left hand corner again, and then you hit go. And this will take you to the opinion. And a few things you'll see right away. There's the caption of the opinion up there. It's got its citation in there too. It's got the date. This was in 1981. And it's got a summary of the opinion up top here. It's a pretty short opinion. You can read the whole thing. First thing to look for is up here. You get this little C up here. Over here at Key Site, I'll just click on that. That tells you what all that code means. A C means that the case or administrative decision has been looked at. It has some history, but there's nothing in it that's negative. If there's a red flag, that's a warning that something in there has been found to be no longer good law. That is, a later superior or co-equal court has overruled part of that opinion, changed the holding of it from being valid to invalid. You could have an opinion with 10 parts to it, and one of them's overturned, 9 of them stay the same. It's still a red flag if any part of that opinion has been overturned. The yellow flag indicates that there's been criticism. You'll see a lot of yellow flags, but nothing's been explicitly overturned. H's are like C's, don't worry about them. Depth of treatment stars, if we get into that a little bit, you'll see what they're for. I don't think it'll really come up very much, but again, you can just read about it here if you want. So, going back to the opinion. After the summary, you get headnotes. Headnotes are done by West editors. They tell you what goes on in the case. They've fit everything into this categorization system that covers all of the law that has ever happened in the United States. It's a pretty big deal, actually. somewhat akin to like building the pyramids. I've been working on this for literally over 100 years, having editors go through opinions and categorize everything that gets said in them. At the top level, you have a number, a key number. In this case, the first one is 212, injunction. And then it drills down from there to a more specific thing about injunctions. There's about 400 of those top level domain West key numbers, and then it breaks things down to about 10,000 subparts at the lowest level. And everything gets put in its place, and everything has a place, and so it all works out very nicely if you want to do research on something like injunctions. So if I want to do research on injunctions, particularly subject to relief, I can click on that key number, and I open it up in a different window. I can do it in federal all jurisdictions as opposed to just Massachusetts. I can go with the most cited cases. I click that in. It'll take a minute to search for it. Too many documents. So that'll happen. So I'll just do it for Massachusetts then and search that, because that won't produce too many documents. And all of federal court and all of injunctions, it just too many results, so it kicked it back to me. I just did it for Massachusetts to move along here quickly. Takes a minute to search, so you get all these opinions. So if you're researching a particular point of law, you can get into it this way, and you can also see the flags. Yellow flags all over the place, some C's, some H's, nothing that's been explicitly overturned. So that's how that works. The head notes don't just categorize things, they tell you what actually happened to this opinion. And then you can use the two there. It means that this was in the second paragraph, so you can toggle right down to the second paragraph of the opinion. You'll notice within the opinion that you have other opinions that you can link to. So if you see an opinion, oh, that's interesting, I want to see that opinion specifically. That's how you do that, closing that window. Another thing that you'll get are statutes. So there's a statute, and so as you know, legislatures make laws. They then, the laws go to the executive branch. They promulgate regulations. The regulations can then be, along with the laws themselves, be cause for people to have conflicts. That leads you to court. Courts then issue opinions on the statutes and regulations and the Constitution and treaties also. But that's a lot of what the law is about. Some people go a long way without ever being told any of that. And so I thought I'd just quickly summarize it. If you already know that, sorry, I don't mean to give you stuff you already know, but not everyone is exactly up to speed on that early in their legal studies career. You have the ALR here, American Law Reports, which is a sort of an omnibus report on many different things in American law, section by section, so lawyers can use this to drill down. It goes by jurisdiction after that. But that's not really what we're here for. So we'll go back to the opinion right now. And another thing I'm going to quickly show you is that at the end of this, we don't have a dissent. We don't have a concurrence. We don't have a dissent. This was before a tribunal. Armstrong, Rose, Drebin. Judge Drebin wrote the opinion. Pretty well-known jurist in Massachusetts, actually, in his day on the appellate court. Don't know offhand if he made it to the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts, but he's names on a lot of opinions around here, that's for sure. And you've got your head notes and you got your knowledge about that. You actually read the body of the opinion. Sometimes, once in a while, 0.02% of the time, head notes can be wrong. They're made by humans, they're checked by humans. Sometimes something slips through. If you're a practicing attorney, it's beholden upon you to actually read the opinion yourself and not just take the head notes word for it. Again, it's highly unlikely a head note would ever be wrong, but it has happened on rare occasions, so you cannot rely upon them absolutely and totally with all of your faith. The last thing I'll show you quickly is I'm just going to look up a Supreme Court opinion here. 555 US 555 always gets you to an opinion. It's not particularly important what opinion, I'm just using it to show a couple things quickly, which is for Supreme Court opinions you get a little bit more. You get a background and a holding, and then below the head notes, which you're already familiar with. Also notice the yellow flag on this one. This has been criticized, but it's still good law. You get the syllabus, which is prepared by the reporter for decisions of the U.S. Supreme Court, not by any of the justices. It's not the law, but it's a very nice little summary. and then you can get into the actual opinion that was written in this case by Justice Stevens. There were some concurrences in this case that were written. If you look over to the side here, I see here is Justice Breyer concurring after Justice Stevens wrote the opinion of the court. And then down below, somewhere near around here, I may scroll by it. It doesn't really matter if I do or not. It's just in here. You can trust me. Is Justice, in this case, I think it was Alito. Yep, there it is. Alito with the Chief Justice and Justice Scalia dissenting, wrote a dissenting opinion. So that winds it all up for you. That's a quick and dirty version of WestLaw. I want to keep this video short. They take a long time to upload to YouTube, so I'm not going to go any further. Thanks for listening, and I'll do some more of these as we move along.